Hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel where stories and other random things take center stage and imagination is prized above all. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys are enjoying your morning. I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning and we'll continue to have a wonderful rest of your day. So today, today's video will be about the first season of Bridgerton. I did that was literally the only reason I read The Duke and I. Because I had already watched this season before, last year, at some point when it premiered. That was also the reason I attempted to read Bridgerton The Duke and I last year, and I was just like, I got to page 176 and it was just like, it's not gonna happen. Okay, I get it. It's not going to happen. But still. But I have managed to read The Duke and I. And now I rewatched the first season in anticipation for the release of the second season, which I am also currently watching and will be doing a video on soon. But that is the point. Anyway, so the first season of Bridgerton takes place as it's adapted for the first what is it? It adapts the first book in the Bridgerton series, which is The Duke and I, and it mostly adapts it well, so this is why I'm not going to explain the plot, because it's basically the same plot as The Duke and I, but if you don't know what it is, I didn't want to explain it, but you know what, if you don't know what it is, here's what it is. Watch The Duke and I review, which I will link below, but the basics is that it is marriage season, basically. It's like a social season, and these and they have a basically they have this like debut thing, and they go to these balls, and basically Daphne meets Simon is a duke, and basically they come up with this plan to basically create a fake courtship, and in order for her to get more suitors and for the mothers to stay away from him, but it's supposed to lead into romance. That's like the basics, like that is the basic plot. And it's a very simple plot, but I still think that the series did it better than the book, especially considering some aspects. Now, most of the book is actually adapted well, I think. Now, the only differences, there are a couple of differences. For example, the Queen did not participate in the aspect of this, of the Bridgerton stuff. Like, they did not participate at all. The Queen was not present. Lady Danbury only like showed up once, maybe, yeah, like once or twice in the book, but she is a very big part of the season, and turns out in this storyline a big part of the Duke's life. She I think in the original source material she did help him out and everything, but she and he respected her. But in this one, her nurse was there, but like, I'm sorry, not her nurse. Simon's nurse was there in the book, in the flashbacks that we get, while, but Lady Danbury was the one that kind of taught him stuff and taught him how to get rid of or like how to work on his stutter. Now, that is the one thing. I think there are parts that the book did correctly and the show did better as well. One of the things that the book did better than the show was actually handle the issue with the stuttering. Because in the show, you kind of know that he had issues with speech, but that's it. It's not brought up. It almost looks as though it's over. You know what I mean? It's just, it looks like he worked on it and the speech problem is over. But even as an adult, Simon still has issues with it when in the book, which I think was good to have in there. That was like one of the few things that gave Simon depth, even though the bar was so low. Simon, fucking look at her face. it was just a lot. The bar was low. The show did make the chemistry between Daphne and Simon much better than the book. Like, I can actually feel some chemistry and friendship with them, maybe not romance, but definitely friendship. The show also added some much needed conflict that the book just never did. Like, these characters don't have conflict, and when they do, there's just a resolution that nobody works for, not even Daphne. And they so it is they also added more much needed conflict, both with the Whistledown mystery, but also with in general with other people. We follow a bigger cast of characters. Fun fact, I originally thought that Cressida was a show character, an original character from the show, but it turns out that Cressida is actually a character in the books, but she just shows up for the first time in The Viscount Who Loved Me. So that's a thing. So yeah, there was more drama. For example, the Featheringtons kind of show up at least once, I think, in the book, but there is more drama when it comes to the Featheringtons, and a bunch of stuff is happening. So with the Featheringtons, there's a new character, as far as I know, that I have not seen in the books so far, Marina Thompson. And turns out she's their cousin and expecting a baby. So there's a lot more drama in the show, and there's also more conflict. For example, there is one conflict I found interesting, was the one with Lord Burbrook, where in the book he only shows up, Daphne punches him once, and it turns out, he's gone for the rest of the book. Like, that plot line is dropped. While here, it kind of continues, in the show, it kind of continues for like the first 3 episodes or whatever. And then there is a blackmail. There's like a blackmail into marriage, but then they managed to get rid of him, and I will not spoil how, but they did. It was really good though. Most of this show is actually really good and takes the source material and actually improves it, especially with when it comes to Daphne. Actually, she's a stronger character in the show than she is in the book, which I found very interesting. And it's interesting to also see Anthony make actual mistakes, and in this season, while in The Duke and I, although he may have made a mistake, he didn't it wasn't talked about in general. Like, none of the stuff was even mentioned. Like, in this one, we saw him make mistakes when it comes to Daphne and her marriage and all that stuff. We see him make actual mistakes. We also see his life outside of family and the way he has an affair with Sienna, another seemingly show original. I have not heard of her in the books yet, as far as I know, and I did not do any further research. I've only read the first 2 books, and I'm only gonna read the books as the seasons come out. So we'll see, I guess. We see his life, we see Benedict's life, and we also see a bunch of different characters in the way that they do the things that they do. We even have an artist who's married but also has a relationship with a guy, and they basically they're married, but they don't have that relationship. So I think that's an interesting thing that they have here, and that was written in. We also see Eloise is a great character in this season. And Eloise may have made an appearance at some point she made barely an appearance in The Duke and I. She was mentioned, but that's about it. But Eloise is a great character here. She was basically like an awesome feminist icon, and she was obsessed with trying to figure out Lady Whistledown, which I thought was amazing. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I also enjoyed from this season in general. I enjoyed most of the season. The one thing that disappoints me with this season, oh dear. Okay. A trigger warning here. I'm going to talk about the sexual assault scene in The Duke and I a little, and how it was adapted here. So I'm kind of in a gray area on this, but I'm still disappointed, definitely, because the in the adaptation of the first season of Bridgerton, for some reason, still unknown to me, Netflix decided to adapt the scene, adapt the sexual assault scene in The Duke and I. And I think there are definitely some differences in the way it was done. Like, he was definitely at least not drunk, which is at least amazing. But, and one, it could be argued that the show may have handled it somewhat better, but not by much. It can also be argued that that in the show, Daphne was not educated. She did not outright plan it. She did not outright plan to do this. She even excuses her behavior as saying that, you know, I took an advantage. I had an advantage and I took it the same way he did. And there is, so one can argue that while in the book, it is very much obvious that Daphne planned what she planned. But that doesn't excuse any behavior, even in the series. I think if they were going to put the plot line in, they could have handled it much, much better. But they didn't. They had the plot line in. They argued, and then towards the end of the season, they kind of get back together, and like in the book, there is no like work done on both their parts at all. In the book and even in the series, you know, Simon does lie by omission. Lying by omission is still a lie, just saying. He does omit actual information, and in the show, at least, it can be argued that Simon may have not known of the extent of her education, while in the book, it is kind of obvious that he took advantage of her and is very manipulative and would say things along the lines of, you know, I gave you every option to back out of this marriage. Don't forget that. Don't you forget that. And even uses things like if she wanted to move to leave or move or whatever, it's like when he doesn't get what he wants, it's like, don't forget that I'm your husband. Like, I own you. I can make you want me. Like, he will say things like this. While in the show, it could be it was handled somewhat better. I don't see the need to adapt the scene when it added nothing to the plot. It added nothing, and the characters didn't work to get their happy ending. Now, the one thing I like about the season also is the season finale, though. It sets up the second season to perfection. We know that The Viscount Who Loved Me is going to be the next book, which means that's also going to be the next season, and that Anthony is looking for a wife. And it sets the next season to perfection because we set up Anthony looking for said wife. And I think that was really awesome. By the way, fun fact, there is an episode in the season literally titled The Duke and I. So the book title is in episode 5, I think. So I thought that was an interesting thing to do. But those are my thoughts on the first season. I genuinely found the season to be good. It made improvements to the source material, and it added conflict and drama, and it actually did more for these characters than the book did. So next week will be my last video of 2021. I don't believe it. And it's really funny because I'm only at the end of March 2021, and it'll be like my last video. My last video, as far as I know. So, and it will be reviewing actually The Viscount Who Loved Me. So Guys, I hope you have a lovely Christmas. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a great Christmas Eve. And we'll have a lovely Christmas day. I actually wonder if I'm going to be on vacation by now. I want to travel to the Dominican Republic, but who knows. But hopefully I do. But in any case, I hope you guys have a lovely Christmas, and I'll see you next week on New Year's Eve. Subscribe if you're interested in my content, and let me know in the comment section your thoughts on Bridgerton Season 1. Look forward to hearing that or reading all that, and yeah, see you next week. Until then, consume stories. Bye.